All right, this evening in Doozer shop, got some stuff to show you. Got a couple, well, a lamp and something else. This is a Waldman lamp. They made them in Germany. I don't know. This one might be American manufactured. Waldman, fully waterproof CNC lamps. You might have seen this a while ago. I kind of restored it all. It was full of gooky coolant. The only thing that would dissolve it was alcohol, because that water-based coolant. It was nasty. I got it all cleaned up, put back together, and I think I remember. There's the W for Waldman. I made this aluminum adapter for the rear of the Pratt & Whitney lathe. So it runs along with the carriage. Kind of a sweet little deal there. And I got a cord hooked up to it. You know, that's the aluminum adapter. And I milled it down a pocket for that sheet metal base to go into. At any rate, this thing is super cool. It's got a neat little switch right there. Like I said, all waterproof, all sealed. It's probably gonna be bad for the camera, but it's a halogen. It's a, I think it's called an H3 halogen. It's the same halogen bulb as fog lamps on cars. But anyways, very spot light type of light. Very spot oriented. You can see it down on the cross slide, and it, it illuminates, your tool very well. And that's kind of why I shut the lights off, to see. Very, very nice illumination. So I'm just stoked about that. Ended up getting a power supply for it. Let me show you. This is my old lamp. So I just got this here. This is a 24 volt computer power supply, 3 3/4 amp, 3.75 amps at 24 volts. Okay, and this is, I gotta make a bracket or something different, but I just shoved it in between my conduit. Really long cord on this thing, this big long cord, and I got it going in here to the strain relief compression connector. But for whatever wattage I could get, that bulb, the 12 volt bulbs would draw like 6 amps, and I'm like, well, okay, that's a lot. I need a 6 amp power supply. I found a 24 volt bulb, and the cheapest place, they're like 20 some bucks, 23, 25 bucks. The cheapest place I found this H3 bulb in 24 volts was a McMaster car. It was $8. So I bought a couple of them, $8 bulbs, 24 volts. And because it's 24 volts, it's not 6 amps, it's only 3 amps. Okay? So I was able to get this 3 3/4 amp power supply to work just freaking awesome. So that's cool. I'm happy about that. I got a 24 volt bulb that draws only 3 amps, and I got that nice power supply for it. It's a Meanwell Chinese power supply. I think Meanwell is Chinese. Got a little indicator light on it. Nice. I don't know if it's got overload protection or just a fuse. I forget, because we had both of them before. And of course this lamp, I know you can't see it, but it's the OC White 1910 shining on the Sagami. Nice. I like machine lamps. I kind of collect them. I like spot lighting, task lighting. And of course, there's my my lamp for the Glendo AccuFinish. It's not turned on, but that's a sweet little lamp. So anyhow, Electrix is the brand of the lamp over on the 17-inch Colchester. That Electrix, that's on Spring Street in New Haven, Connecticut, right where the the Sargent factory is. So this steady rest being spotlighted came in the mail today. I think I paid $165, and then with shipping it was like $205. So $200. It's got a nice big hole. I don't know what it's for. I got it on the mighty 17-inch Colchester. From the split line to the base of the flatway is 8 inches, so it was made for a 16-inch lathe. This is a 17-inch lathe. So it would probably work. What I was looking at earlier, let me kind of go down to the end of the lathe. I don't know if I can make a good shot with the camera or not. It's offset just a little bit. You can see it's not, let me get down more. It's offset maybe a ½ inch towards the tool post. Maybe that's fine. It's not bad. It might work, it might not, I don't know. But I think maybe this is made for a 16-inch lathe. It might be made for a Pratt & Whitney. Now my Pratt & Whitney, so being that this is a 17-inch Colchester, 8.5 inches is what the center distance is on the Colchester. So this is 8. So it's a little low. Now, the Pratt & Whitney is 14.5. So that's, I think maybe it's 14.25, 14.5, I forget. So half of 14 is 7. 7.25 maybe is what the center height is. So maybe I could use it on this. If I cut it down, I think 7.25 inches would be milling off this bottom. See, there's got the V-notch and the flat notch. And I measured this is like 8 1/8 inches wide. And that's it's about the same width from the edge of that flat way to the back of the V-way. So if I milled this off, I could fit it right on the Pratt & Whitney 12C, which actually swings 14.25. I actually think Donnie on YouTube there, he's got one of these similar, not exactly. This is a telescoping rest. He's got one from a Pratt & Whitney. I believe his is from a 16-inch Pratt & Whitney. And he's cutting it down to fit his Axelson, which I think is a 14-inch Axelson. Now this thing, see, it's got the knobs. I think that's a Pratt & Whitney signature, is these knobs. Now, I got to look on the website again, because that's a 6, I know, I'm farting around in the dark here. That's a 6-sided knob. These are 4-sided. But I almost think that this is for one of the Pratt & Whitneys, not the 12C, but the, what do you call it, the 14 or the 16C. Now, DJ over at Foxberg's Fabrications there, he's got a Pratt & Whitney 14C or 16C. I think his is a 16C. It swings 16, I think. And I don't know if he's got a steady. I'm thinking that maybe this is made for his machine. And I forget if they're called a 14C or a 16C. Because it swings, this is a 16-inch center height. So maybe this fits DJ's machine. I don't know. But I could probably use it as is on the mighty 17-inch Colchester. Or I could, you know, cut the bottom off and make a different bottom for it. You know what I should do? Cut the bottom off, make it fit the Pratt & Whitney bedways, and then make a little stackable adapter that makes it fit the mighty 17-inch Colchester. Now it's interesting, the hinge is there and it opens there. That's because, notice the way arrangement on this Colchester 17. It's got the two V-ways on the front, and then there's a flat for the tailstock way and a flat for the carriage, which is completely opposite. Most lathes have the prismatic, the V-way for the carriage, and then the flat way for the carriage, and then they have the prismatic V-way for the tailstock and the flat for the tailstock. But the bedways on the tailstock on the mighty 17-inch Colchester, there's double V-ways in the front and double flats in the back. So you can kind of tell there was the proper steady rest on eBay for a while for the 17-inch Colchester. So to make the hinge in the back, there's the hinge. To make the hinge in the back, you know, the V has to be in the front for the tailstock. Here the V is at the back for the tailstock. But that one that was for a 17-inch Colchester that was on eBay, that somebody just bought it, it had cracked and welded, and it had something cracked and welded here. And it was $450 and it was $100 shipping, so that'd be $550. I made the guy an offer. I think I offered him $350 or something, and he said no way. And I think he was in like Newport News, Virginia, or Cape Hatteras, Virginia, Yorktown, Virginia. That's where he was. I think he was in Yorktown. So kind of a far drive to go pick it up, and he wouldn't come down for the $450. And I watched it for a while. I sent him an offer of $350. He said no. So that kind of, I said, dude, it's been welded. And he didn't even know what it was for. But at any rate, so I thought this was a good deal. $205 with shipping and taxes to my door. So let me know in the comments, maybe should I keep it on the Colchester or cut it down and put it on the Pratt & Whitney? Or maybe DJ needs one and I can find another one, or something. You know, maybe he wants to trade. I don't know. I had, when I bought this lathe from the guy, he threw in a steady rest, and it was quite large, and I had to cut it down. And this is hollow, by the way. This is hollow. The one that the gentleman that I bought this lathe from, Ron, he threw in this big steady rest, and I'd have to cut it down. This sucker was huge, and but I did some research on it, and it was for an American pacemaker. Well, Ron had an American pacemaker, and then a couple weeks went by, and I finally got a hold of him. He's not that far. I could stop in his shop. I said, Ron, you gave me the steady rest for your American pacemaker. He says, yeah, I know. I said, why did you do that? He's like, because I told you I'd give you steady rest with your lathe when you purchased it. And then I was like, yeah, it was for the pacemaker and I didn't realize it until, you know, I owed you a steady rest, so I gave you mine from the pacemaker. I'm like, no, dude, don't do that. Let me bring it back over. I'm going to give you your steady rest back. I'm not going to break up a steady rest from a machine, especially an American pacemaker. And I said, Ron, if you go to an auction or you find one for my 17, pick it up for me, or just don't worry about it, because, you know, we're kind of friends and da-da-da-da. And he's like, okay, well, I appreciate it. Thanks for bringing it back. And I says, yeah, man, whatever. So I gave him his steady back for his pacemaker. I've been looking for one. This one came up for like I said, 200 bucks. And it's either going to work for this as is. If the centering's not too bad, I'll try a shaft in there. Maybe it's fine. Or maybe I'll make an adapter and shift it over and raise it up a ½ inch. Or maybe I'll try to fit it to the mighty Pratt & Whitney. So we'll see. Sorry for all the rambling. But hey, Doozer Shop. Enjoy.